Hello everyone and welcome back. Since my last video on the unexpected Steam release of Disney Infinity 1.0, I have received a lot of comments wanting me to look at both the 2.0 and 3.0 editions, which are, of course, also available on Steam. So 3.0 will be coming next week probably, but today let's take a look at Disney Infinity 2.0 Gold Edition on Steam. First off, a quick recap. Disney Infinity is a toys-to-life game, similar to Skylanders, and it's old, but all three editions are actually released on Steam. This isn't new, they've been there for like 5 years, but it seems like not a lot of people recognize that until now. Disney Infinity 1.0 was always my jam. I did own 2.0 and 3.0, but I just didn't really play them too much. I tried out the 1.0 edition and I concluded that it's actually a pretty good deal. You get all the characters, the toy box, and the single-player adventures included. The biggest downside for me was that there was no multiplayer. No online multiplayer, no local split-screen multiplayer, no multiplayer at all. But let's see if the 2.0 version fixes that. Released only 1 year after Disney Infinity 1.0, 2.0 was Disney's attempt to go even bigger and much more superhero-y than the original. The big addition was characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was back when Marvel was starting to gain a lot of momentum before its peak with the whole Infinity War saga. Apart from that, everything else in 2.0 was pretty similar, and luckily it was backwards compatible with your figures from 1.0. But enough with the history, let's actually get into the modern Steam version and see what it's like. First things first, throughout my entire time playing Disney Infinity 2.0, the number one thing that surprised me was just how much stuff there was. More characters, more toys, more mini-games, just a lot more content, and a lot more in-depth content. So let me explain what I mean. First of all, unlike the 1.0, there was no opening cutscene thing. I kind of just got to pick whatever I wanted to do right off the bat. So I started with looking at my collection, which is essentially the virtual Disney Infinity base. So this edition includes all 2.0 characters, which includes the Avengers, Spider-Man characters, the Guardians of the Galaxy, plus some assorted additional Disney characters that were missing from the original, like Stitch, Aladdin, Baymax, Donald Duck. No Goofy though, which is a crime. Some of these characters have sort of special secondary styles, like Iron Man has this different armor, Spider-Man can become Black Suit Spider-Man, stuff like that, which is a neat touch. I do wish more characters had this, but it's cool for the ones that do. Super importantly, this game also includes every single character from the 1.0 edition, which is very neat. So you essentially double the playable characters. But if I'm being honest, a lot of the 2.0 characters have much more interesting movesets. Like, attacks are often reused in 1.0 characters, but every 2.0 character I played had a unique basic and secondary attack. Not to mention that every character now has a skill tree. This could be a love-hate thing for a lot of people, because on one hand, it adds a lot of depth to the characters. Like now there's actual reason to try and level up, and you can unlock cool special moves or abilities. There's a lot of potential to make a character your own, like in an RPG. The downside is that you do have to unlock all these cool things, and it's not really a fast process. In the 1.0 edition, every character came with all their stuff from the start, which I feel like kind of makes sense, because back when it released, you were buying these little figures, and they weren't super cheap. So you expect all their moves and stuff right when you buy them. But now you have to unlock them, which can be a little annoying. But I don't mind, I'm just glad they actually tried to make combat and parkour a little bit more interesting. Plus, 1.0 characters have skill trees too, so some of them can get new upgrades and new moves, which is very neat. They're not as in-depth as the 2.0 characters, but they are still there, which I like. It's a system that wasn't built for them, so I can excuse them not being great. Anyways, back to the virtual base. These circular power discs are included this time. There's not too many to choose from, but they do have some pretty cool support abilities. Of course, the item discs are also back, all the 1.0 ones are included, plus a bunch more new ones from 2.0. Once again, I had a blast looking through these. There's some really neat items included. The other big things included in this Gold Edition are 3 playsets, or story mode campaigns basically. One for the Avengers, one for the Guardians of the Galaxy, and one for Spider-Man. We will take a look at these in a bit, but it's a little disappointing that there's only 3, when the first game had 6. And it's worth noting that the playsets from the first game are not included, so you only get the 3. There's also these toy box games, which I had no idea what they were, but we'll also discuss those a little later. Anyways, I started off with the introduction to the toy box, which is basically a tutorial. In terms of graphics and load times and stuff, this game is on par with 1.0. It looks very good. I mean, the original 2.0 only released a year after 1.0, so that's not very surprising that they look about the same. In this intro toy box, you can do all these short missions, just kind of showing you around Disney Infinity. There's some parkour, some combat, some racing, and I gotta say, the cars in Infinity have never been good, but I felt like they weren't quite as janky in this one. Like, drifting actually felt possible, so that was pretty cool. Throughout all your adventures in this game, you will collect blue sparks, which allow you to buy new toys to add to your own toy box. And oh my god, there is so many of these toys to buy. Like, literally pages upon pages of things you can unlock. Some of the 1.0 stuff is already unlocked, but that's not even a small dent. It would take you forever to get all this stuff. But it's neat that there is so much. Once again, in the toy box, well, I'm not probably going to, I feel like there is endless potential to build as much cool stuff as you would like. There's even more logic tools, spawners, triggers, a lot of things that you could use to build your own minigames, and it's awesome. Also, something I had no idea this game included was interior decorating. It's a small addition, but that could be huge for people who love the idea of interior decorating in a game, like The Sims or Stardew Valley or something. It's a little clunky, but it is still pretty neat. But now, a question that lots of people have probably been waiting for the answer for. Is there multiplayer? No, there is not. There is no online multiplayer, there is no local multiplayer, you can't attach your base or anything and get that to work. There is no official way to do multiplayer. I know lots of people were talking about modding the game in the last video, and honestly, yeah, that would probably work. But if you just want to buy the game and play it, then you're gonna have to go without multiplayer. Online makes sense, as I explained last time, but I do feel like no local multiplayer is odd. Like, the game was built for that. The base literally has spots for 2 characters. I feel like when they were porting it to PC, it shouldn't have been super hard to just add split screen. Either way, this sucks, just like last time too. The most fun I've had with Disney Infinity is with multiplayer, so I feel like the whole toy box is kind of wasted, because you can't play it with other people, so what's the point? Anyways, to heighten my spirits, let's see what 2.0 offers for single-player content. There's this option called Treasure Hunt on the main menu, and I clicked that, and it was basically this game's version of the intro from 1.0. Like, it introduces all the Disney characters, gives you a fun little playable cutscene. I liked it. It's odd that you don't play it automatically though, and there's really no explanation about it until you click on it. Anyways, onto the playsets. I started with the Avengers, of course, because if I'm being honest, I'm not so sure about the other 2. Like, a big appeal of 1.0's playsets is that they were unique. We don't have a really good single-player Pirates of the Caribbean game, or Monsters University game, or Incredibles game, excluding LEGO games, of course. So those ones felt pretty neat. But we have an absolutely fantastic Spider-Man single-player game, of which is also available on Steam. Same goes for Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'll still play those ones in this video, but it feels like if you're looking for a single-player game with either of those franchises, just play the critically acclaimed ones that are genuinely really good. Anyways, the Avengers isn't exactly in the same boat, so let's begin. Loki is attacking the city with his frost giants, and it's up to you to save the city, starting with protecting the Avengers Tower. There's actually quite a few things that shine with this story mode that led me to have a pretty good time with it. First of all, there is actually difficulty options. I, of course, had to turn mine from medium to extreme when I figured this out, but it actually ended up being like way too hard. I think all it really does is give the enemies more health and more damage, so they just became bullet sponges and it wasn't very fun. Hard was a pretty good difficulty though, where it felt like it wasn't too easy and I still had to dodge every so often and get health pickups and stuff. Overall, combat is just pretty fun. I like that there's new moves, like special moves that are very powerful. All of the Avengers play very uniquely and they're just fun to kill some frost giants with. Some combats have like special mechanics too, like this pit that immediately kills enemies, or this energy beam that does the same. So then you can focus on throwing or hitting enemies into those objectives, which is neat. Overall, like there's not tons more depth, but there is more depth than 1.0, and that's cool. Once you've saved the tower, you get access to the open city, and this is also very fun. It's destructible. You can pick up cars or drive into them, you can jump up on buildings. It's really just a fun playground to cause chaos, which is definitely not the intention, but it's hard to resist. There's special challenges hidden around the city, or these coins that would allow you to play as crossover characters. I really just had a fun time driving through the city. I did enjoy this story mode, even if I wouldn't really say I'm super into Marvel superheroes anymore. If you are, or if this is what you love to play as a kid, I would 100% say this would be a blast for you to play. Just don't play as Captain America, because the sound of his shield actually drives you insane, oh my god. On to Guardians of the Galaxy. Despite me just saying I'm not into Marvel superheroes, of course I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, who doesn't? They have some pretty great movies, so I was hyped for this one. It's similar to the last one. Combat is very fun. There's a little more variation, I felt like here, in terms of enemy variety and combat encounters. There's these sword guys, then these gun guys, then these ground turrets, and there was this big ship. It was clearly more combat focused, and the combat was fun. As I said, I still think the actual Guardians of the Galaxy game is a much more in-depth and fun experience, but for the nostalgia, this is great. Plus, I love playing as Rocket. He was always who I would play if me and my brother did ever play 2.0 when we were kids. And lastly, Spider-Man. I think you've probably got the gist by now. It was pretty much more of the same for this one. The big thing I wanted to see was how web swinging in the city felt, and it's surprisingly nice. Compared to Insomniac's Spider-Man, it's nothing. But for Disney Infinity, it was fun. You can swing around and climb on buildings. The city isn't huge, but I did enjoy just swinging around for a little bit. And that was it for the playsets. I think the overall production quality and gameplay variety make them a big step up from 1.0's playsets. At the end of the day, they are more fun to play, especially with the more in-depth combat and the fact that you can use these to gain experience and unlock new skills in the skill tree for your favorite characters. However, it is still a little disappointing that there's only 3 different campaigns, and that they're all Marvel themed. I would have liked, I don't know, like an Aladdin one, or a Big Hero 6 one or something. As a whole, I feel like this game kind of put the Disney part of Disney Infinity to the side. I get that superheroes were and are huge with kids, so it makes sense. But at points, this kind of just felt like more of a action Marvel beat-em-up game rather than Disney Infinity. But if it's Marvel you're looking for, you will definitely enjoy these. However, we are not done yet. The last thing I checked out was the Toy Box games, which were actually more interesting than I expected. I genuinely thought these were just going to be like one-off 3-minute mini-games like they were in 1.0. But they're actually like in-depth mini-games. There's 4, but there's actually only 2, because 2 are Disney themed and 2 are Marvel themed, but they play exactly the same. Anyways, one of them is a tower defense game. You can build towers and fight enemies yourself, and it's pretty fun. The building towers lends itself perfectly to Infinity. The building tools are already in the game. Now you just have to use them to place turrets and traps instead of creating your own castles. It's not very well balanced because you can be a flying character and just fly up and shoot enemies from there, but maybe if you keep progressing through the levels, then the challenge will be a little bit more apparent. Either way, it was a fun mode. The other one was a top-down dungeon crawler, and this one I really liked. It felt unique. Like not something really from Infinity, but you could still play as all your favorite Infinity characters. You need to find loot and upgrade your companion and fight enemies. It's kind of just more combat, but it has a cool progression system, and the unique perspective and styling and everything was just really fun. If I return to this game to play anything at all, I feel like it will definitely be this mode, because it was the most fun. And that was about all I tried out for the Steam release of Disney Infinity 2.0. So what are my overall honest thoughts? Well, I didn't have as much nostalgia this time around to blind me, but I still had a very good time checking out everything this game had to offer. I feel like just with the amount of content and stronger depth of this game's systems, I'm inclined to say it's better than 1.0. And if it wasn't for nostalgia and the more Disney-focused theming of 1.0, I would probably say that's the case. But I really like the simplicity of the original one as well, so it's definitely gonna stay my favorite. But if you grew up playing 2.0 or just really like Marvel, then this is definitely worth it if you can pick it up on a sale. As with 1.0, I think it's a great deal for the amount of content it comes with. Yes, it's disappointing there isn't any improvements on adding multiplayer or anything, but I really wasn't expecting that at this point. We will take a look at 3.0 Gold Edition next week, hopefully, so stay tuned for that, because there were quite a few changes from 1.0 to 2.0, so I'm interested to see how many changes will be in 3.0. Either way, thanks so much for watching this video. It makes me super happy to see Disney Infinity still getting so much love, and all other Toys to Life games, honestly, like Skylanders, LEGO Dimensions, Webkins. I just really loved reading through everyone's comments on my last video about their experience with these games. So thank you once again, and if you enjoyed, I would appreciate a like or a subscribe if you want to see some more videos. I hope to see you again soon.